Good morning, students of Standard 10. Welcome back. Yet another session of the Indian National Movement. So the main topic of discussion would be the launching of the civil disobedience movement by Mahatma Gandhi, and what were the circumstances of launching this program, what are the programs of this movement, and what were the outcomes or impact of the movement would be the topic of discussion in today's class. Yeah. So first we'll see the circumstances that led to the launching of the civil disobedience movement in 1930 by Mahatma Gandhi. So what were the circumstances? Let us take a glance of it. First is the Simon Commission. Now the people of India, that is the reform that was set up in 1919 by the government of India, that is British government, did not satisfy the national leaders and the common people, and so there was countryside agitation. And to satisfy or to pacify the Indians, what happened is Sir John Simon, along with the members, with 5-6 members known as the Simon Commission, was sent to India to look into the grievances, look into the matter of the people. And so Sir Simon arrived with the members, as Sir Simon was the head of this committee, and so it has been named as the Simon Commission. So the Simon Commission was boycotted by the Indians because none of the Indians were the representatives in the Simon Commission. All the members were belonging to the British Legislative Council, and so the people felt that it was a wrong deed because none of the Indians were representative in that commission, and the commission was boycotted by the Indians. When Simon landed up in Mumbai, people shouted, "Simon, go back." That means this was the cause for the launching of the civil disobedience movement, the Simon Commission. Now the second is the Nehru Report. So what is Nehru Report? That means when Lord Birkenhead, the Secretary General for the States of India, or the Secretary General for the State of India, he justified the Simon Commission was wrong, and so therefore he called the Congress leaders to draft a report based on the Simon's visit or Simon's Commission in India. So therefore the Nehru Report was headed by many Congress leaders, and it was given the task to Pandit Motilal Nehru to draft the charter or draft the report. So therefore it stated that the dominant status was the immediate goal by the end of 1929. So the Nehru Report surveyed and gave the ultimatum to the British government that the immediate goal was the achievement of dominant status, which has to be achieved by the end of 1929. But when the report was submitted to the Majesty's government, was not implemented, and so that what it was said, it was not important or it was not implemented, justified that it was not clear and we cannot give, and therefore this forced Mahatma Gandhi to launch the civil disobedience movement. So the Nehru Report was also another cause for launching the civil disobedience movement. Clear? The next fact is the Lahore session of the Indian National Congress. Then the Indian National Congress, they met in Lahore in 1929 and discussed that now the achievement of Swaraj or self-goal was the main aim, and so the Congress demanded, and they passed a resolution demanding for complete independence or the Purna Swaraj, and that was met out in the Lahore session of the Indian National Congress for complete independence, no more compromise, and they said that we want Purna Swaraj or complete independence. The ultimatum was given to the British government, and when they denied, Gandhiji was again forced to launch this great movement, that is civil disobedience movement. Clear? Next is Gandhiji's 11 demands, which he promulgated on 30th Jan 1930. So Gandhiji, after that again, he submitted his demands, that is called the 11 demands of Gandhi. That is, he put forward the demands, but the His Majesty's government declared this to be unrealistic. The demands of Gandhiji was declared as unrealistic by the Viceroy, and so Gandhiji felt offended and he launched the civil disobedience movement. So these were the circumstances that led to the calling or launching of the civil disobedience movement under Mahatma Gandhi. Clear? The causes. Next, what are the programs of the movement? What were the programs that were of the movement? So therefore the programs were: on March 12, 1930, the civil disobedience movement was started, and Gandhiji had written a letter to the Viceroy, Lord Irwin. That time Lord Irwin was there, placing before him the 11 points. However, these 11 points were rejected, and Gandhiji was forced to launch the civil disobedience movement on March 12, 1930. Yeah? So what were the programs? Highlighting of the programs of the movement are: the congressmen were not supposed to take part in the future elections. So the Congress, they said that they will not take part in the future elections of the government. Then the sitting members were asked to resign their seat, that means to vacate the seat, where the members in the executive council, or they are asked to vacate their seats or to resign from their post. And thirdly, Gandhiji told that the law passed by the British government should not be obeyed, that is flouting the laws. Any law passed by the British government will not be obeyed. Then the salt law passed by the British should not be obeyed also. The salt tax or the salt law that the British passed was not to be obeyed by the people. Then the Congress volunteers were also allowed or made the volunteers to pickpocketing the liquor shops, and was to be undertaken by the picketing of the liquor shops or the British owned shops were undertaken by the Congress volunteers. And then also we have the burning of the foreign clothes, boycott of the government schools and colleges by the students were another program of this movement. Then finally, absenting from attending the educational institutions. The students were asked to absent themselves from the educational institutions started by the British, and the officers were also asked to boycott the offices, and the public servants were also asked not to join the offices. In short, these were the programs launched by Mahatma Gandhi to curtail the British administration. So the movement started with the famous Dandi March undertaken by 79 volunteers under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, and this was a 200-mile walk from Sabarmati to Dandi, a small wayside village on the west coast of Gujarat. On April 6, Gandhiji reached Dandi and picked salt as a symbol to defy the British rule, and the movement gained huge momentum, and as women and country folks also joined together. And therefore, the Pathans of the North-Western frontiers, also known as the Khudai Khidmatgars, they also supported this movement, and practically the Pathans under the head of that is called the Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, also known as the Frontier Gandhi, he also supported this movement and to cripple the British administration. So the civil disobedience movement was to paralyze the government, because the government did not adhere to the norms put forward by Mahatma Gandhi. So these were the circumstances, and these were the programs of the civil disobedience movement as launched by Mahatma Gandhi. Now we'll take up with the next in our topic would be the Gandhi-Irving Pact. Now in 1931, the British government was very eager. Now they saw the violation of the Indians, and the British government was very eager to make compromise with the Indians. So the mediation between the Congress leaders and the British government started. So the British was now highly alarmed, and they knew that without the consent of the Indians, they cannot run a single day in administration, and so therefore the Gandhi-Irving Pact, the British government was very eager to make compromise. So the mediation between the Congress leaders and the British government started. An agreement between Gandhi and Irving, known as the Gandhi-Irving Pact, was signed, and according to this pact, it said that the prominent leaders should be released when they were from the bars, and the Gandhiji made a solemn promise that he should free all the political prisoners who were captured, and in return, the Gandhi will accept to withdraw this movement, will stop the movement, and agreed to take part in the second round table conference in London. So this was the agreement signed in the Gandhi-Irving Pact of 1931. Then again, the second round table conference was held. Again, Gandhiji was, since he had promised to take part in the second round table conference in London, so Gandhiji was the only sole representative of the Congress over there when he went to take part in the second round table conference in London. So over there Gandhiji pressed for a responsible government. He pressed that we should get a responsible government. He pressed the British for granting Indians a responsible government. But the other members like the Sikhs, the Christians, the Muslims, and the other groups also were present, but they showed their narrow interest because they were not fully interested. They showed their narrow interest, and this led to the failure of the conference. And so the conference could not come to a conclusion because this led to the failure of the round table conference, and Gandhiji became a frustrated man and left England in December 1931 and came back to India and again renewed the civil disobedience movement from 1930 to 32. So this was what the topic of discussion for today. I hope you have understood the topic of civil disobedience movement, and coming next would be the Quit India movement or the Quit India resolutions and its impact and demanding for the complete Indian independence. Till then, go through with the topic, read, understand. If you have any doubt, we may solve it in the online doubt classes. Till then, take care of yourself. God bless you.